Hey Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, friends, PSA Graded Return numero dos out of my Mucho Grande PSA Graded Return that came in a couple of weeks ago. Hope you guys were able to check out that video. I will leave the description down below. It should be popping up in the eye right now. But without further ado, I've learned to trim the fat from these videos. Obviously, there are 20 graded cards in a box, as you just saw I take out. Don't forget, friends, that this is part of an ongoing series. So if you are not a subscriber or are new to the channel, make sure to check the description or check out my playlist for PSA Graded Returns on the Analytic Gengar channel, and you will see that there is actually a first video. This is the second of those videos, so make sure to check that out for added continuity in your video watching experience. Other than that, friends, I'm not going to say much other than trying something a little bit different today. I'm going to try to do it like this, so this way I don't kind of see the grades as I take them off, and hopefully they stand up well. So first up first, I forget where the grade is. Wonderful. All right, so picking up where we last left off, this is a Meganium Hollow. So this is number 21 in the set. This card will actually fetch, you know, a couple like in the 40s. Let's just kind of see what the grade is first, but I'm gonna guess an 8. Okay, very cool. If you saw the last video, you know that 8s are not easy to come by when it comes to the hollow foil, just because it can be insane sometimes with the way that how harshly they grade surfaces. So it can be difficult to get the grade you want out of that. Next up is a Mewtwo reverse foil. I'm gonna guess a 9. Okay, very cool. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the next few cards are actually Expedition Mewtwo's. I'm gonna go, I guess it has 7. All right, this one came back in 8, so not bad. The thing with this particular lot of cards is that there were several duplicates at times. So it ended up being a situation, this is a 7, so I have a 9, an 8, and a 7. Very cool. So it just became a situation where like there were many duplicates, and you know, that's good because sometimes you will have cards of a lesser condition, so it's helpful to have cards of a better condition to kind of offset that with. Here is a Ninetales. This is honestly, after seeing this card and holding it in my own 2 hands, this is one of my favorite cards out of Expedition. I love this card, and I think it's one of the prettiest cards. I'm gonna go ahead and guess a 7. A mint 9. Very cool. And it seems pretty consistent when it comes to the what do you call it, the reverse foils. Like, they will consistently score higher than both my expectations and what the hollow foil of the card will. Now here's the one thing I don't like about this card. So it's Ninetales, kind of like in a jungle vibe. It has some bamboo, and you can tell it's bamboo because of like the way the shoots are. The one thing I don't like about this card is that there's, in my opinion, not enough hollow. Technically, this also means it should score higher, like a 9, or like an 8. Yeah, let's see. This is one of those cards I don't mind spending a little bit of time on. Yeah, and 3 of the 4 corners, so 1, 2, and 3, they all have something or the other kind of going on with them. So I can see why that card got the grade that it did. Now I don't remember, and usually when I don't remember, that means there isn't a duplicate of that card. Yep. So we move along. Now we have Pidgeot, which is a fan favorite. I believe another darling of the coronavirus, in so much that the prices seriously spiked on this card as it went up. The reverse hollow version of this card that I submitted got a 9, an 8. Okay. Yeah, it's looking like a back thing. And I can see that. Like, it's so hard. PSA is also really just rough on the corners. Like, that's where they get you. So, you know, if you haven't seen my videos on it, that's where PSA will get you. BGS will do the centering, and PSA will rip you on the corners. It also doesn't help that our hobby loves blue-backed Pokemon cards, and obviously, you know, when cards get white, they kind of show up on a blue background. Here we have a Holo Pidgeot. Don't know why I nearly dropped it. Trying to get the holo pattern to show up, but it's not as easy as you think. Really good looking card. It looks like it's like skydiving in a hurricane, which is pretty dope. And it got a 7. Okay, very cool. Yeah, I'm just beginning to think, like, most of these cards were in a similar condition. So if I get better over time at guessing the grades on these cards, it's likely because I just kind of anticipate what they're coming out as. Here's a Poliwrath. I'm going to go ahead and guess an 8. A 9. You know, it's funny, something told me to guess a 9 too. Yeah, here it's literally one white dot down here. That's literally the only reason it probably got the 9. Because in terms of holo foil, like, the surface was probably perfect or passable enough to get a 10. Which, by the way, doesn't need to be a thing. Here's another duplicate. We do have a Poliwrath. I'm going to go, I guess, ahead at 8 for this one. Another 9. So it looks like I have 2 Poliwrath as PSA 9s. Very cool. Let's go ahead and take this one. Okay, so here's the holo foil version of that card, and you can really kind of see how pretty that card is right there. Has tons of holo on it. I love these cards. I think these cards are so pretty, and having them as 10s, honestly, even having them as 9s is like truly an accomplishment, because for you to have opened them, graded them, and have them, I think that's that's probably one of the most true to form types of like OG collectors you can have. Like, there's collectors who will buy PSA 10s, and by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. For what it's worth, I do that. But I think it's so cool when you hear stories about people who like had these cards in their binders forever. They're now grading, and they're getting these amazing grades, including PSA 10s. For my card, I'm gonna go ahead and guess a 7. Oh, a 9. So I legitimately missed that grade by a little bit. And in my opinion, it certainly wasn't the back that cost me the grade, so that's really interesting. Alright, next card. The back looks pretty crisp. Okay, here's a Poliwrath. I'm gonna guess an 8. Okay, yeah, I figured sooner or later it was coming for me. If it wasn't one of them, it was the other one, but that makes sense. I mean, you know, the thing with those cards is that they can be incredibly difficult to grade, but because they're vintage, they're also worth a lot more. So I can see a situation playing out where you also feel pressured to, really kind of look hard at some of these cards. Over here we have a Rapidash with Overrun and Flametail. Another one of those cards that in holographic pattern is one of my favorite cards. This card ended up getting a 9. Wow, yeah. So this isn't the first time one of the reverse foils has gotten a 9. Basically meaning, hey, they're really good cards. In fact, they're mint condition cards. It's just a question of whether or not they were gem mint or not, which I guess could be up to subjectivity. So maybe a crack and resubmit there. Here's the holo version of that card. Much like any of the fire Pokemon in Expedition, at least in my opinion, they don't get enough holo foil. So as you can see, they really kind of did a lot, but the holo foil is predominantly back here, and kind of in between Rapidash's flames. I'm going to go ahead and guess a 7 on this card. Got an 8. And if I remember correctly from packaging these cards, there's actually a duplicate. So this is, yep, another Rapidash. I'm going to go ahead and guess a 7 on this one. And I got the 7. Yeah, so it's weird. I can tell you on this particular card why it is. There's a little bit of whitening down below. So I could definitely see why this one got the 7. And in theory, I could see why the other one got the 8 based off of that. Gonna go ahead and bump that down below. I got a Skarmory reverse foil. A good looking card. Like I said, the steel type cards, now they were getting better, because if you watch the first video, I believe we got a Neo Gen first edition Skarmory back, and that card, like, the background was so awkwardly dark you could barely read anything. By the time they got to Expedition in 2002, they had significantly lightened up the background, so it's almost white. You could, at a glance, mistake the steel types for the colorless type Pokemon, so at least they made that adjustment. I'm gonna go ahead and guess a 9. Very cool. To no one's surprise, it got the card that it got the grade that it would. Now here's the hollow version of that card. What's cool about it, big swirl right down there. And unlike some cards where you kind of really have to play around with it, it just kind of shows up and like really glitters around. So this is a really nice card. And honestly, I could see someone paying a premium for a card like this because of that swirl. This card, I think I already spoiled the grade. It got an 8. Yeah, so the one thing, whenever you get PSA returns, it would say gem mint, mint. The gem and the NM in near mint, mint stick out a little bit more. So if you're not putting your thumb basically halfway across and you put it like right over here, you're going to end up seeing that part of the grade. Next up, we have another Skarmory. This one, unfortunately, does not have the swirl. However, what it is lacking for in swirlitude, it will make up for by being a gem mint 10. Okay, no. It's a near mint. I think I'm also now playing, officially, I'm going to declare this. I'm playing a game where I guess a random gem mint 10 every video. Will we get one? TBD. But here's a really pretty Skarmory either way. I mean, look how just holographic that is. I love these older cards, as as many collectors do, because they A, partly tell a story, and B, can really kind of show it up nicely. Here's the Typhlosion out of Expedition. So much like the Meganium. And this card ended up getting a 5. Woof. What made this card get a 5? That's kind of rough. There's also a part of me that fears when I ship stuff to PSA, and in case you haven't heard, PSA has been taking just a terrible amount of time to unpack this stuff. There's a part of me that then thinks that perhaps they will also end up, damaging cards along the way. I'm going to actually check this card. So here's the thing. I don't think the card is creased, which was my big concern. Obviously, shipping cards, you never want to end up in a situation where your card is creased in action, as they call it, or creased while being mailed. I feel like this card really got dinged for the corners again, which is really punitive because I've seen some of these cards get like 8s. In this stack, I think, have gotten 8s, and then this card got a 5. So that is kind of rough. A little disappointed in that, but I mean, obviously nothing I'm gonna like cry about. This is one of those cards where it's also so small in terms of how many of these particular Typhlosion, Rev Foil, Expedition sell, that it's hard to even get a gauge on what this card might be worth. So hopefully that kind of identity will make itself known in the future. And I goofed and didn't cover it, but here is the final card in today's video for reveal is a mint condition, according to PSA, 2002 Pokemon Expedition number 30 Venusaur. This is a CGI generated artwork, but golly gee willikers, does it look good. And that's one of the things that I think is really dope, is that they were really playing around with the computer generated images at this point. So the CGI is like low-key on point for this kind of stuff. I think it's actually really good. The one thing that cost it, probably this little white ding right over here. But other than that, a really nice condition card. I'm actually very happy to have this card, and honestly, I could see this being like a $50 to $60 card depending on the person. Some people like this stuff because it's a Venusaur and it's the starter, and because of that, some people are willing to pay a premium. But with that said, friends, there is another 20 PSA graded returns. Now, I may not have said this in the original video, but I will say it now. Most, if not all, of these cards will be for sale. I may end up pulling some of the cards from my own personal collection. Those will probably be coming later on, particularly if it's a really like a Pokemon that I really like Tyranitar, or if it's a situation playing out where maybe from the EX era stuff, spoiler alert, there's EX era stuff coming later. I will be pulling some stuff, but for the most part, a lot of the stuff will be on sale if it hasn't already sold already. So by the time you see this video, it may have actually already sold. That said, I will be reachable by email as well as on Instagram, so definitely hit me up if you are interested in any one of these cards, whether you are a collector or trying to fill a collection or whatever have you, feel free to reach out. I am glad to get in touch, let you know what is up for sale, what is up for auction. And also there will be tons of cards that I will be kind of bundling together and doing special stuff with on Instagram like Raz's. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, make sure to check out over there as well, because basically how it works is I can put $300 in cards up for a raffle, but the way it works is that instead of selling $300 in cards, I only charge, you know, $10 for a ticket, and 30 people enter. So you have a 1 in 30 chance of winning, and if you win, you get everything for only 10 bucks. So that could be another cool way to A, help people build their collections, and B, also help me to kind of move some of this stuff out and about and get it out into the Pokemon collecting community. So with that said, friends, thanks again for checking out today's video. I hope you and family are doing well. Feel free to reach out. Make sure to leave a like and comment if you like what you saw today. It helps me grow and learn what people like in terms of content for the channel. And thank you as always for your viewership. If you think I earned it, also feel free to hit that subscribe button and make sure to stay notified by hitting that little bell icon so you know when the next PSA Graded Return is coming out. Thanks again for checking out today's video, friends, and I'll see you real soon. Peace.